Oh yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome. I loved it.
All right, party people in the place to be, vandals and all you space missionaries out there on your flying carpets. This is a brand new episode. How did we get here? And tonight we're talking to a legend, man. Like this guy reading comics, and we're really happy to have him here. We're really excited. I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself, talk to his book, talk about his book. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm good. My name is Eric Mengel, and yeah, I am here to talk about this. It is the trade paperback collection. Ocho, my favorite part. It is a 228-page trade paperback. It collects issues stoked. I'm super stoked with the product that I put out, or will be putting out. The paper quality, the color cover, the whole thing. The ISBN. You got to have that. Most guys, they go through a publisher. They have someone else to help them out with all these things, and I am fortunate that I have some friends that help estimate, and this is just a sample of things to come. So super excited with it.
And I just want to jump in and say a beautiful jumping on point. I am very new to Ocho myself. I've only read this trade and the newest issue, but like I was able to jump right in. And there's only one piece of lore I kind of wanted to ask you about, Eric. And Geronimo the Carpet, did he come with Ocho from his planet, or did Ocho meet him?
No, so he got Geronimo. A friend of his got Geronimo, and his friend just didn't really understand how to use it. So that was in the storyline many, many years ago, and it's just one of those things. It's a lot easier to draw and to understand the logistics of a magic carpet than it is to drive around in some kind of car that you've got to worry about car insurance and where it's parked and how does Ocho get access to it when he needs it. So Ocho can just yell out for Geronimo and on Earth. It doesn't work when he's out, in the other worlds and whatnot. So, but on Earth it works for him there. So
Yeah,
yes.
I kind of like Ocho's lore. The whole thing about the hat. As long as he's wearing a hat, he looks absolutely normal to everybody. But
Yeah.
his hat and with the pointy ears, which he still doesn't really freak people out when they see him, which I love.
Really, as a writer, and I'm not like the biggest writer, I'm not like super well trained, or I didn't go to college. I didn't go to college for art classes either. But I'm not. I've never really developed myself much in that realm, other than reading books, looking at things on YouTube, like we all do these days. I have to fix your out. Um, but as far as Ocho is concerned and all of the storyline ideas, I really do pride myself to try to come up with good ideas and to try to beat them up a little bit. And when I'm writing for, I mean, this one was different because I did all these issues out of order, but it I knew that eventually it was going to be in a trade paperback, and I wanted to do a trade paperback that was a little bit beefier, a little bit thicker, so you get a little bit more bang for your buck. Selfishly, I don't have to put them out as often. I don't have to carry them around as often. Like I can just, lock in. This is 11 issues. I think the current clip that I'm at now, I think it will be 10 issues because each issue is about 21 pages of story. And I always use the cover as like the chapter break. So, I mean, whenever I'm doing a mini comic, I kind of feel like when I'm doing mini comics, the storyline, this long spanning storyline. And I posted some pictures or a video on my Instagram today of all the issues over the last 30 years. So I feel like it's To me, selfishly, like I want to show, like I got to resist, or I did this, or but I really did. You know, it's 30 years of comics. It's over 50 issues of comics. It's over 1,000 pages of comics, and it's all Ocho. And it was never about like leveling up to get like some gig somewhere else. It was leveling up Ocho. You know, like we're on this journey from the very beginning of learning how to draw and doing it. You know, I was just filling up sketchbook pages with this character, and I still do that. I just love writing and drawing Ocho.
And you said pretty much it's always going to be Ocho
That's
for
it.
you,
That's
right? You
it.
don't like.
There's no, and it will always be a mini comic. Like I don't. I mean, I guess I could see if numbers got higher than they are now. That I could. I really do like. It's always going to be Ocho because this is my love letter back to comics. Like I read a lot of comics from Spider-Man and Batman and the X-Men and then got into indie, and there were books like
Yeah.
Concrete by Paul Chadwick and Hellboy by Mike Mignola and Spawn by McFarlane and all these
Madman
guys.
by Mike Allred, which Ocho
And
kind of very much reminds me of. Like that's totally what
yeah,
Ocho puts me in mind of in a way.
that's a perfect one because I'm a huge Madman fan. I've got like the little figure over here from like maybe 25 years back, you know, of Madman. So yeah, all of those books continuing on, they were the inspiration. They created these great stories, and selfishly, I wanted to I wanted to be on board. I wanted to ride with those guys, you know, and I mean, I've handed all of these guys my Ocho mini comics over the year from Frank Miller, Mike Allred, Mike Mignola, anyone that I get a chance, anyone that comes to town to the conventions. I'm always bringing Ocho comics and I'm handing out the mini comics because it's a pretty easy way for me to put out a little chunk of material and just sell them, give them out, make sure people are seeing it. I love it, you know. So yeah, I'll never stop doing Ocho, and I'll never stop doing mini comics. It's just a fun medium. I think it helps me kind of stand out a little bit differently, you know, when
Yeah,
you've got a book that's a little bit smaller. um, I just think it's fun. Comics. I want my time doing comics to be fun. You know, even conventions. I'm at with my buddy Scott Rule. I'm with my buddy Brad Dwyer. I'm with my buddy Damon Begay. I always tell whatever I'm tabling, I either want to be with this guy or I'm sharing my table with this guy because it has to be fun. Like otherwise, this is work, and who wants to do that? Who wants to look at it that way?
Scott actually is the one that put me on to you. He actually shouted you out when or I think off air, and like he
Yeah,
brought you up, and and then magically, like right after that, your Kickstarter came up, and I'm just like, hell yeah, dude, look at this.
yeah,
And then I got to talk to you a little bit and got to read it, and I'm even so much more excited about backing it and getting the actual physical copy because you've shown, like, if you watch your videos on Instagram, you get to see like just how great the inks look, and like even the PDF you sent us, like it doesn't look as good as like when you actually held it up and showed us like what the inking in the book actually looks like, and like
right.
wait to hold it and look at it, you know what I mean? It's going to be so much better.
Technology is a tricky beast because when I'm drawing something, you know, like it's on a piece of actual paper, and I have these tones that I use that I put in there, and I'll splatter them all in there, and there's something different when it's paper, you know, when you feel it in your hands, when you look at it. And to me, that's what it's about. You know, technology, I think we should embrace technology. I think comics are really expensive. And when I was a kid, comics were, 50 cents, 35 cents. Maybe I would go with my dad to the liquor store, and for whatever reason, probably for kids like me, they would have like little 3 pack of comics, that someone bagged and just threw it in there, and it was three for $1. And that was the magic. Or going to 7-Eleven or Circle K, that was the
Mhm.
magic. Like you're getting this thing, and you have it forever. The Spider-Man cartoon show that they rebroadcast on TV, you can only catch that from 2:30 to 3. But this comic book you can have, and that's where it got me. I was infected at that point. So and I'd rather have that kind of addiction than, any of the other vices.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Sorry, Johnny.
No, go ahead, Joe. You haven't.
That original art, I noticed you use a lot of halftones. Are you doing a lot of that digitally? Or it looked like on that
No,
piece you were doing them
it's
traditionally.
all traditional. It
Nice,
was all
very
traditional.
cool.
My buddy Jim Mafu. So we were using it with the old school. It was called Lecture Tone. And
Yep.
out here in Arizona, Mafu lived out here, and I was out here, and those other guys were out here. But I went to, we had a Spirits of Independence stop here. Dave Sim had a convention of Cerebus, and I asked Gerhard, the guy who did the backgrounds in the Cerebus books,
Mhm.
what are you doing these tones with? And he told me, he said, yeah, it's this stuff, Lecture Tone. Someone in line said, oh, yeah, it's over at Arizona Art Supply. I left the show pretty much within 5, shook their hands, got the books
I
autographed.
got
He showed me,
yeah,
he's like, this is an X-Acto knife. You use the
yeah,
X-Acto knife, you cut around it. I
hmm
bought this X-Acto knife, in 1997.
yeah,
This casing, the yellow casing, I call this Excalibur. Uh, and I never looked back,
yeah,
And so we were buying those, but they were like $16 a sheet, and
yeah,
it was like almost 11 by 17, maybe it was 10 by 15, 10
yeah.
by 14. um and my food told me this secret way, it was like a some kind of label sticker that you could feed through a photocopier, you could photocopy it on there. And I mean, I would love to show you. I have like boxes of this
Of
stuff
that stuff,
because
yeah,
you're worried, like I'm dedicated to this for the rest of my time that I can draw, so I want to make sure I have enough to get me
very
through.
cool.
And I get a lot of cartoonists, and they ask me, they're like, "Oh, how do you do it? What is the stuff?" And I'm like, I kind of feel like Mahfood made me like, like, hey, this is between me and you.
Secret
Not like,
handshake, yeah,
yeah, kind of. And I just ran into him on Saturday, and I always mean to ask him, but I always
yeah,
forget because we're talking about other stuff.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
but yeah, it's old school. It's an old school tool that we kind of, remodeled and
yeah.
use it for ourselves. And yeah, my original artwork, it looks exactly like, what the paper on the printed, it would look exactly like that,
Yeah.
just reduced down.
I know there's a company now or a guy that makes stamps that simulate the halftones as well. So you can just use it and you stamp with
Okay.
actual ink. And he made a pattern
Yeah.
and you go with an actual stamp and you can stamp the halftones directly onto your art to make the
That's
halftone
pretty
thing too.
cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I
Yeah.
mean,
If ever you
they have the
yeah, if,
filters in Photoshop and all that
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. But
I
like a
would like
lot
to
of
see
people,
that.
yeah, a lot of people like to do the traditional, like like so.
Yeah.
And I remember I saw it on, I can't remember. I know the guys at Ink Pulp were talking about it, and I think I saw someone else post it. I think what's his name? Crap, Johnny, the big name guy there that does Dead Earth, Wonder Woman. Can't believe I
Oh,
can't think of his name. Daniel Warren Johnson
yeah,
uses
DW.
that
Yeah.
stamp. Yeah, he
Okay.
uses that stamp too. So,
Yeah.
like a lot of the guys are starting to buy this stamp that they just stamp into the ink and they're going with it.
Yeah.
And it's kind
Yeah.
of cool
And
because they do the overlap, like because it's a
yeah.
stamp, right? So you can overlap a little bit and it gives these weird effects. So
There
yeah,
once
yeah.
was a cartoonist. I don't remember who it was, but there was a cartoonist, and he was making photocopies of a big drawing. Or maybe it was actually a picture, but he got this picture in a magazine, but
Hmm.
it had pixelated
Yes.
Elvis, had the dots. And so he was cutting part of Elvis. He'd make photocopies of it, and he would tape it on the page to get
That
you
look.
know, that look. And it
Yeah.
was like this big long running joke for many, many years. I only heard about it like maybe within the last 5 years, but I was like, yeah, I guess you can lift these things from anywhere. I have some that I had the photocopier. I had the photocopier down. I thought that this was back when I would put the Ocho originals on glass on the
Okay. Yeah.
photocopier and then hit start and shrink it down and then make a dummy copy. I hit start and a copy came through. It basically was an image recorded of the roller that rolls that you feed the photocopier, and
Okay.
it is this cool look that I've used for like streets. I'm not going to be able to find it because I have so many tones in
Yeah.
here, but
Hmm.
I've used it as like the blacktop, the asphalt. I've
Okay.
used it for background decoration. I've used it for prison bars.
Cool.
So yeah, it's I've cut and open envelopes that you get from the mail where they it has that protected
Yes.
like
The see
dots on
through.
there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, and I'll just make photocopies of that and use it. I've made
Yeah.
my own.
Yeah.
It's amazing what you can
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
just to try to spice up your book. Because for
Yeah.
me, as a black and white comic artist, I have three colors. I have black, I have white, I have the illusion of gray, which is usually compressed lines or compressed dots of some
Dots.
sort.
Yeah.
This one right there that you have up
Yeah.
there, that's the actual.
From the
That's the
Xerox.
from the Xerox. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's so
The
rad that
street.
that just popped up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
it just makes it look fun, makes it look different.
Yeah.
As an artist, I think that's what we're supposed to do is try to look a little bit different, try to do something that not everyone else is doing. It was very in vogue to try to look like Jim Lee's art or Todd
Hmm.
McFarlane's art or whoever. But I think the real vision is to kind of go your own way and have a lot of influences, throw them all in a blender and hope no one realizes, where you're pulling from.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just normal. People pull from everywhere, right? And you just tweak it to make it more easier to fit your style,
It
more
never
convenient to
ends.
work with the way you work. Like it's
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, I
we're
see them in there. You play with the people that kind of work with what you kind of do with your comics. Like right here, this is total Paul Pope, right? You're good.
no, I'm a huge Pop Up fan. I got a bookshelf, dedicated to them. But no, I wouldn't say like I would never say that I'm trying to ape any of these guys.
Well,
I
no, I
don't.
wouldn't say eight, but like
Yeah.
there's some Pope there, especially with the way like Ocho is written and stuff. It kind of like my bad.
Oh,
It kind
for
of
sure,
gives me
for
some
sure. And
PhD feels.
Pope's lettering is something else. So for sure. But it's never a conscious thing. There's times that I'm drawing a panel and I have one. It's at the end of it's at the end of this issue that will be coming out in a couple weeks for Cartoons Crossroad out in Ohio, and it's this shot right here where Ocho is just swinging around, swinging
mm,
away, and laying it on this bad guy. And I drew this next to Scott Gerard Rule at Phoenix Fan Fusion because I really wanted to finish this issue, and we were just waiting for the doors to open, and I'm like, bro, I swear I stole this from somewhere. And I thought it was Dark Knight Returns because Dark Knight Returns is holy ground for me. Frank Miller, I'm a huge fan. That was the first comic book that I bought in a comic book shop. It was episode two, issue two of that series. And so I swore that I stole that from somewhere. And no, I read all through it. I thought it was like Batman socking Superman or Superman socking Batman in their little fight scene, but no, it's not in there. And maybe I got it from somewhere else. I just haven't figured it out. Maybe someone eventually will. Facebook has this group called Comic Swipes, and
okay.
it's awesome. It's awesome. They post all kinds of, look, you let that awesome pose that you like from your favorite artist. Well, he stole it from this guy. So it's pretty awesome. I love that Comic Swipes group on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook a lot, but that's one of the reasons I'll go on there is to check that out.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So back to the Kickstarter, I wanted to say I have the link for it in the description and in the chat.
Awesome.
So like if you are digging and smelling what Scott's laying, Eric is laying down. I'm so sorry. Hop on there and check it out. Like the trade, it's very reasonably priced for as thick as it is. It's $25. It's 30 in America for shipping. That's just for the base. If you want to
Right.
get it, there are several really great add-ons. He's got new issues. He's going to be putting up old issues. We were talking about that off air as a possibility. He's got the trade paperback for Blind Mice, which is a group, a team that Ocho was in.
So when I first started, and I renumbered this series back in 2000, I this is the Blind Mice book. I was really into I'm into indie comics, all the indie comics, whatever the comic book store would have, I would be grabbing that. But Shannon Wheeler's Too Much Coffee Man was such an inspiration that I thought I basically wanted to kind of do something that he was doing, but in Too Much Coffee Man, it was um so you have the coffee man character, that would be like 8 pages of story, and then you would have the cartoonist, and that would be 8 pages of story, and then there would be another story, like white chocolate coffee girl, or there'd be some other story in there. I haven't read those issues in quite a while, but there would be some other, so it would be either like 3 or 4 different stories, but each 8 issues in, so it almost was like an anthology, but Too Much Coffee Man was the leader of the pack. And I thought, well, what if you mixed in everything, but you threw it in a blender? So in this book, it's got Ocho, and it's got these two guys, Petey and Pitbull, and their little antics, and it's kind of comedic. And then there's this guy who's me, and then that's kind of some autobio stuff. I at the time I was a manager of a group home for children. That was something I ended up doing for 27 years, 25 years, the last place I worked. I loved it. I helped a lot of people, a lot of kids be successful in life. I still talk to a lot of these kids, to this day. But there were always funny stories or interesting things, or maybe things that humbled me as a human being, seeing what some of the struggles that these kiddos were going through. And so like I just threw it all in the blender and mixed it up. And when I submitted this off to Diamond to see if they would carry it, they said, "Well, it's too mumble jumble. There's too much stuff going on there." And they basically said you should concentrate on one of the characters. And at the time, I really took that to heart. The auto bio stuff is probably a lot better if you're angst, if you're going through hard times, if you have some kind of bigger issues, if you have something to talk about. My life was, I mean, I graduated college at 22. I had the same job for 27 years. I got married. I have kids. I leveled up in houses. And no one wants to read about this. It's going to come off as like some guy bragging. So I got away from the auto bio stuff, and I
Mhm.
really got rid of the comedy stuff as well. And I narrowed it down. I think by issues 9 or 10 or 11, the title train changed from Blind Mice to Ocho, and I never looked back. Ocho is great having it as a title as well, because like in Arizona, people know me and they know Ocho. It's so easy to remember. But if you've got a book that's the adventures of the three chosen amigos, like you're not going to know these characters on a name basis. So I feel like I got pretty lucky by doing something as basic as Ocho as a character name. It's pretty easy to remember. He's just a guy with 8 fingers, and
Mhm.
uh, yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's eye catching too. You know what I mean? Like really. I mean, like he's got a monsterish thing to him, but you can tell that he's good. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you really nailed that about him. That like he does look tough. Looks like he could maybe be scary if he wanted to be, but like he just doesn't. He is here to help, and that's what he was
Yeah.
trying to do. And I appreciate that. Like, you towed that line perfectly through this book. The last two issues were such a great treat. I loved when he helped the immigrants, man. I was just like,
Yeah.
that really made my day at the end of the book. Like.
Again, as a writer, I want to explore some things, and when I did that, it was before all of the we got to build a wall and we got to do this. It was I'm not, and I don't agree with all that. We're built on America's built on immigrants. Like it was built by immigrants. My great grandparents were immigrants. So um but I think Mexico is really cool, and I would love to get Ocho back to Mexico and explore some themes, but I really I gotta go visit Mexico a little bit more before I get into doing stories. Like I really wanted to do a story about some things out there, but I want to go out there, and so at some point it will get back to that. His girlfriend, Ocho's girlfriend, is half Hispanic, half black, and so I'd like to tie some of that in there as well, as maybe a reason to get out there.
Mhm.
So we'll
Well,
see,
there was also that great scene. I think 3 issues in with the racist, with the bigot, where Ocho
Right,
takes him and scares him on Geronimo, and then
right,
Alicia tells him like, "Hey, man, that kind of wasn't cool."
yeah,
That was such a great sight gag. You know what I mean? Really good scene.
right. And
Mhm.
like working with the group home kids, like that, it really was a great blessing to me in many, many ways. But I mean, we had foster kids. We've had, I met my wife through that job, and I have my own kids, I have my own life, and I retired, a couple years back. So it was a great blessing. But one of the things that it did kind of teach me is, we have to like look out for people, and we have to explain. Sometimes it's not just like, oh, you're wrong, you did this. I'm down for punch a Nazi, but like there are some times where, these people,
Mhm.
they don't know that what you're doing is wrong, like I mean, we can all understand the current climate now, and there's a lot of crazy things that are going on.
Mhm.
It's a dread for me sometimes just watching the news or looking at my Instagram. But when you talk to people, and I've been fortunate that I've been able to meet people on all kinds of walks of life, and you hear stories. I have a friend like, well, his mom disowned him because he did not vote for Trump, or he's not a Trump supporter, and it's just insane to me, like
Yeah.
those things. It's just crazy, and I think sometimes we need a little bit of, hey, let's slow down and let's talk this out.
Yeah.
Let's try to get to the bottom of this. And Ocho too, any guy, you're out with your girlfriend or your wife, and someone insults you or insults them. We all have this inclination to stand up for our people, and
Mhm.
but there's a right way and a wrong way. You can simply
Yeah.
say, hey, that's not needed. So that was that issue. It was kind of talking about those things, the same as
Yep.
I would with the kids at the group home.
Yeah. But I think that is that I love the fact that you brought that up, Johnny, and that's a great message, I think, where we're too quick just to that person's an asshole, they're this, they're that, and completely write them off. Whereas, like like she said, there's a better way to do it. Like, yeah,
Right.
like you said, you can go punch him in the face and beat him up, but that's not gonna change his outlook on life. It
It's
might
gonna
even
make it
make him
worse.
make it worse. Yeah, he might
Yeah,
even dig in even deeper, like, but if you go and see, like, listen, we're not bad people. We're this, it's not cool. How would you let, and so it won't sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you got to try, because if you want to make the world a better place, we all got to try to work together somehow. And I really like that message in it. And I think, especially now in this climate, that kind of messaging is lost.
for sure.
Like you said, now more the messaging is punch that Nazi in the face and that's the end of it, right? There's no
What team
more.
are you on?
y-
Yeah,
it's like,
exactly.
yeah, exactly. Like, you're either with me or you're against me. There's no like gray or middle ground with a lot of people now. And that's what I like when I was talking to Johnny after I read it. I was like, he was like, "Oh, what did you think?" I said, it's a very wholesome book. I
Yeah,
think the messaging is very honest, it's very sincere.
yeah,
And like at the beginning of the episode, when Johnny called back to like All Red and all that, and you started this book in like the mid 90s, right? Early
yep.
90s to mid 90s.
95. Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, and I just find there's just so much of a divide, and no one's willing to take the time to sit down and talk with each other. And that was, for me, a breath of fresh air to read that in your book.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that. I
Yeah.
thought it was fantastic.
And that is what it's about, because we,
Mhm.
at the end of the table, I have this saying, we all got to learn to eat together, like
Mhm.
it can't be, the rich and the poor. It can't be, it can't be this race versus that race, this
Mhm.
Democratic, this Republican. We might not be fans of whatever it may be, like especially the Republican takeover. If I'm a liberal, I'm a Democratic, I'm a social worker, like I want everyone to be able to eat. I want us all to be able to be successful. I want
Mhm.
everyone to have a fair shot, like I think those things are important. And if you don't give those things, then things get bad anyway. People will just take it, they'll
Yeah.
just make they'll get it. But I feel like in those things, I feel like there can be a conversation, and I feel like we can't just shut the door, especially when it comes to family. And those stories
Yeah.
always break my heart. It's just not,
Mhm.
it's not good. And sometimes it, by having an open dialogue and a conversation and an open door to come in,
Mhm.
sometimes that makes the change.
And just the conversation is a battle won, because you might not change that person's mind right in that moment,
Right.
but more than likely they're going to go home, maybe go to work, and during quiet moments they might reflect on that conversation they had with you. and and change is never an immediate thing. It's always a
Right.
slow process. It's gradual, right? and if and I find today like the people have no delayed gratification. It's now. I want it now, and if I don't get it
Yes.
now, I'm not happy, right? But
Right.
change takes time, right? It takes time, it
Agreed.
takes effort, and it takes work, and people aren't willing to put the time, effort, and work into it for
Yeah.
change anymore.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think, like, if you always just run the reciprocal, if you said, well, these people are trying to do this, and then you flip it back to them and say, well, how would you like it if someone was doing that to you?
Mhm.
And
Exactly.
I feel like it's almost like I just punched them in the gut, like it
Mhm.
just, it didn't matter if it was the group home kids, if it was, uh, drama between family members. It didn't matter what it was. If you just kind of broke it down and said, how do you feel like you would
Yeah.
take that if the tables were turned? There's
Yeah.
there's some good lessons there.
Yeah. Yeah, for
And
sure. And granted, some people just can't be helped. They're too far gone. But I think in the majority of the cases, you can find a happy medium where people can coexist
Right.
peacefully. And,
well, once somebody like is able to cool off and get their head straight, like
yeah.
once you get caught up in something like that, it's weird. Like I have a friend. He's like one of the main leaders of the Snyder cult, the Snyderverse people, and like
Okay.
and
Yeah.
he just
This
kind
is
of
the real thing. This is the real thing.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he's finally caught his breath. And I was talking to him the other night. I watched his little AI movie that he made, and we were having a good time just chilling. And like he was just like, Johnny, I'm so happy that like I'm kind of stopped doing that, man. Like it was so
Yeah.
insane, and I'm ashamed of some of the stuff that I did when I was in that. And like that wasn't even that hurtful of a thing. That was just people being
Mhm.
angry about Superman movies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Right. Right. It's silly. It is. All of this stuff is silly. Like, I mean, you
Mhm.
have to think of what really matters, and people can like whatever like. There's people that don't want to give Ocho the time of day for anything, and that's okay. Like, I always have this saying, like, sooner or later, everyone reads Ocho, because that's like, I've had people say, yeah, I've seen you at the show for many years, and I'm gonna just give it a chance. And then next thing you know, they're on my Kickstarter, they're supporting the book, or whatever it is. So it you just put yourself out there, and you just have to have a positive attitude. That changes a lot of things, for sure.
you'll be better for it, in my opinion. Like the messaging that you have in
Mhm.
just this trade, like it makes it probably like the most proper superhero book I've read in a long time.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I mean, that is not by design. Ocho is basically me. Like,
Mhm.
it's just, it's not me trying to be this altruistic, this great thing. It's just me trying to figure it out. I don't write a plot. I don't write a script. I don't really know where the story is going to go. other than, just like I would look at a comic page and say, okay, well, what happens next? I do the same thing from the next issue. Well, last time they were getting beat up by this guy, so this issue will start. They're getting locked up and they're, off their way to the jail, and then, well, what's going to happen? I don't know.
Hmm.
Figure it out, and that's the beauty of writing and drawing a page, a comic one page at a time, is you get a chunk of time to figure out where's the story going to go. I
Yeah.
only have 21 pages to wrap this up, this issue. And right now I'm on page 13 or 14. I don't know where it's going to end, but it's going to end and it will just go into the next issue. And I
And
feel like more so this series, it is whereas, previous issues you could read each issue as a chapter, but it could be independent of anything else. This one, they're in and out. The current one that I'm working on right now, not the trade paperback. They're in outer space. There's all these crazy things that have occurred. Um, and that all
yeah,
stems from the last page of Ocho 39. And it
yeah.
happens in this trade.
You sent us issue 30, 41, I believe, and like, yeah, there's already a bunch of beef going on. Like Ocho is
Yeah,
sad because his friend died, so it's quite a juxtaposition from where we
yeah.
left the trade, and it's only about what 2 issues away from it. So
It's
yeah,
that was issue 43 that I sent you.
oh, 43.
Yeah,
Okay,
so 43. So and that will debut at Comics Crossroads, Columbus. But it's been fun doing this stuff. And I'm, like I said, I'm retired now. I draw for, probably 6 hours, five
Okay.
hours a day. We just did some renovations on our house, so it was really difficult. My office was torn apart for half the week because I needed the walls painted and I didn't want to
Hmm.
do it. So I had some downtime, but at the same time, I know this coming up week, my kids will go back to school. And I'm going to be right back to, like, well, what am I going to do? I get up, take my dog for a walk, I jump in the pool, I get out and I start drawing, and my goal is to always draw more than I'm on social media, and I'm solid with that. So, like, as long as I can put in my time, like if I kill an hour or two on social media looking at art posts, looking seeing what my friends are up to, it's all right. I got my pages, my page work. I got my stuff done for the day, so I feel really good in that.
and I like another thing that I like is you work in clever things with your numbering, or at least you did in this trade paperback with issue
Yes.
34 with the Walter Payton jersey. And thank
Right,
you
right,
for
right.
having a football hero that I actually know and remember from when I was a kid. Yeah, Walter Payton with the 34 jersey and the armored car robbery. It was a great it was like Ocho's jersey was starting to stink, so like they go to the shop and like they
Yeah,
find the
there
paint.
he is. I look at this artwork, and that's really a cool thing that I'm grateful for. And I know all of us as artists, we kind of cringe when we see our past artwork versus where we're at now. But to me, again, Ocho was really just a vehicle so I could learn how to write and draw my own comic book. And I still go to the art supply store, just down the street, and I try to fight with them about getting a student discount because I'm a student of the art, like
Hmm.
I'm trying to become a better artist, and sometimes they gave it to me and sometimes they don't. I don't really fight, but I say, well,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a lifelong student, I've been doing this for 30 years, and maybe I bring in an Ocho comic, or I show my screen on my phone and say, yeah, I write and draw this comic, and I'm still trying to get better,
Hmm.
and then sometimes they're impressed. Sometimes they ask me to bring comics in. It's kind of
Yeah.
cool. We're all, as artists, I feel like we're all just planting seeds. Every little conversation, every little interaction. I went to Tucson Comic Con and I was just giving out. I didn't table there. Me and Scott Rule. Scott Rule is a great buddy of mine now. Like, we became fast friends. Maybe I lose track of time. maybe 2 months ago.
Mhm.
We have this thing called pizza and draw. We might drink a beer or two or have a glass of wine, whatever it is. But Scott Rule, me, are buds. He's actually coming with me to Columbus for comics.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
cartoon Columbus Crossroads. Yeah, he's a great dude. Helped me out tremendously. And I hope that I'm doing the same for him, so I really enjoy hanging out with that guy. We were down in Tucson this past Saturday, and it was cool just to walk and meet a bunch of people that maybe I didn't remember them by name or whatever, but you're hearing Eric and, oh yeah, here, hey man, have this Ocho mini. Haven't seen you in a while or whatever it is. Here's an Ocho sticker. And it's just a good vibe, it just feels really good.
About the idea of you saying that like an artist cringing at your past work and knowing that you're better, like that's valid. And fans of art that are artists like me and Joe are up and coming wannabe artists, like we get it to an extent, but at the same time, like as fans and as people that aspire ourselves, we love seeing the journey. And that's
Yeah,
why, like, when people redraw their stuff, like when Paul Pope he's redoing THB, I'm like, please don't. I
yeah,
love watching you become Paul Pope on that book. You weren't
right.
Paul Pope when you started it, but you were Paul Pope that we know when you were done with it. And it's beautiful watching that happen. And
Yeah.
like, it's fair enough that he's redrawing it. It's his thing. But like,
Is he really redrawing it? I hadn't heard that he was redrawing
I
it.
know
I've
he
heard that
wanted
they're
to. I knew he wanted to redraw it and have it colored, which just broke
yeah,
my heart.
yeah.
I
I
mean, I'll
have all
buy
the
it
originals.
anyways, but
Yeah. And I'll buy the new one as well, but I have all the originals or most of the originals. There's a
Mhm.
couple issues that I don't have, but yeah, it's an awesome book. Paul Pope is just one of my heroes for sure. All those
well,
guys. Any of the
well,
indie guys that were in the 90s or the 80s even, Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird,
Mhm.
all these guys just there's so many of them. I couldn't even list all of them. It's just it's powerful. Then you got guys like Jack Kirby that, to me, he's known as the king for a reason, like he's my favorite cartoonist. And then you've got Katsuhiro Otomo with Akira, and his works are amazing as well. And Frank Miller, and I know a lot of people now, Frank Miller, like DC will give him some project and he'll draw a cover and he'll say, "Oh my God, this doesn't look,
it's cool
whatever."
to hate
But
on
it,
him now. Yeah.
but it's like, look, man, the guy is they're probably just saying, "Hey, Frank, what do you want to do? We just want to have you in the house. We just want to invite you over for dinner. Like
Well,
we don't have to bash."
he has a hard time finishing projects. Everybody knows that. So
Yeah,
when you tie him up with an artist and a co-writer, he actually gets stuff done. That's why we've been able to
right.
actually have a couple extra Dark Knight books come out. Since he hasn't drawn them, but like he got Raphael Groundpaw, which I mean I think draws better than him. Like
Yeah.
Dark Knight 4 is probably the best looking Dark Knight book that they put out.
Yeah. Yeah, I just, you want your heroes to
Yeah.
ride off into the sunset. I always say this, there's not a lot of ever after stories in comics for the creators, and that's why we have these groups that, that do the charity things for like the artists that need support with their diabetes medications or whatever
Mhm.
it may be. I'm good friends with some people that run the Hero Initiative, that they're a part of that. And uh you know like we don't want to bash on our heroes. We were talking about like the whole, you got to bring people over to the other side. I saw a post on Instagram the other day and this guy was bashing Stan Lee, which Stan Lee maybe did some wrong things, as far as taking credit for some characters that he didn't create or storylines that he really didn't do. I mean, you look at Jack Kirby's original artwork and you can see Jack's handwriting in italics saying what is going on and what movement is happening and what the motivation is. And Stan Lee took all this credit, so maybe he was wrong. But you know what? First of all, the guy has passed on. Why are we bashing a dead person? Like that's
Mhm.
not cool. And at the same time, like, my wife makes a really great lasagna, but if you took one ingredient out of that lasagna, I guarantee it's not going to taste as great. And it's the same thing. If you take out one ingredient from Jack or Stan or the letterer or the colorist, or if you just change one thing that could really change the whole thing, and maybe it doesn't go over as well. Maybe we don't have the great history of Marvel comics, or and Stan was such a cheerleader, hey, true believer, you're
Mhm.
Generalissimo here, like
Yeah.
I try to embrace some of that as the I kind of have to pimp myself out for the Ocho stuff. I don't hate, but I don't necessarily like doing all these Ocho videos. But I realize I have to do it. I have to talk about this Kickstarter. I have to talk about Ocho. I kind of feel guilty. Ocho hasn't gotten bigger than it is, but it's not my I don't need to puff out my chest and try to feel good about I feel good about myself, so I don't need to do those things, but I wish I would do it a little bit more. And I do get some of that from Stan, like, hey, true believers, yeah, the Marvel Merry Society is gonna march on. It's pretty fun stuff, and as a younger comics reader or seeing him on TV, I, I, I met Stan Lee once. I met him twice, but I got his autograph once, and it
Mhm.
was really nice. It really was kind of cool. So.
People got wise and paid attention and saw like you and what you were doing. Like I find you infinitely just inspirational, man. And in
Yeah.
your own right, the way that you do and put out Ocho, you literally make it look like anybody could do a comic book. I mean,
I
like,
think
you make it look easy. I mean, not saying that it is, but like you really kind of. And I think that like if more people kind of saw like that about it, like it would be kind of a more celebrated thing. Books like Ocho, you know what I mean?
there's some unwritten rules in comics as far as I'm concerned, and I think one of them is maybe not to share your secrets, maybe not to talk about how you're getting something done or whatever. I mean, back in the 90s when I first started, the mid 90s, it was like you have to draw on this 11 by 17, you have to use this crow quill, you have to use this India ink, you have to use, these tools, this brush, and now it's like you can use anything. I can use some rip-off screen tones. I can use tech pens. I can use pencils, just normal pencils, not like an art
Yeah.
pencil. I don't draw on pages that are the same size as most artists. I do a mini comic instead of full thing. I just am concerned on like getting the pages done and getting the stories completed and moving on to the next one. And my livelihood is not dependent on this, but at the same time, my livelihood and the ability to make comics depends on me having some success with comics, because no one can do something at a loss forever,
Mhm.
So the mini comics, it always was a cheap way for me to make a comic. It probably cost me like, maybe like 25% of a mini comic. Like if I sell it for $5, I probably am paying $1.50 for it, $1.25 for it. Whereas some of the print on demand full scale comics, they're very expensive. For me to ship my mini comics, if I'm just shipping one, like I'll say, hey, I'm doing a Kickstarter for the new issue, and I'll get a bunch of people that bought that next issue. I think it cost me like 60 cents to mail it. Whereas if my buddies mail their full size comic book, it's probably like $4 to ship it. So
Mhm.
I'm just passing that savings on to the reader, and I'm benefiting it from it as well because it's easy. I can put it in my mailbox, I can
Yeah.
just send it out. I put a forever stamp on there, and I'm good to go. And I wish more people would give mini comics a chance, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I get it. You want your book to look like it's the real deal. But I mean, I don't know. It's just
I
personal choice.
A
I
lot of
com-
people seem to be running with it though, man. Like our buddy Marty with his superhero comics, he's kind of really given mini comics kind of a new breath of fresh air. All the different kind of formats that the Power Pulp guys are doing, like a lot of them
Yeah.
do minis. Like you brought up Brad Dwyer, I just bought a bunch of his mini comics off of his web store. If you can get it, man, Damnation is an Empty Threat, probably one of the
Oh,
best comics I read all year. Like,
I have it. I have it here. It's right here. Brad's one of my other pizza and draw buds. So yeah,
cool.
Brad is one of the homies for the
Hmm.
last 20 years probably. Like I've known Brad forever. And that Damnation is an Empty Threat. It's probably I mean, I do love the apocalypse of the Eight Men, but this is really awesome, you know. And this was only the mini comic was only part one, so he's got a second part, and maybe he'll make it a full size issue. I'm not exactly sure what his plan is, but
I really
yeah,
hope he sells it as a full size comic. Like I think like it could make a killing. It's very topical while at the same time being like a psychedelic slasher thing. You know what I mean? I think
yeah.
he's doing something really smart with it, and I think if more people got a hold of it, it'd be a smash. You know what I mean? It'd be a big seller for Powerful.
It kind of reads like you know, like one of those B movies, you know, like and Brad's into all that stuff too, but it reads like a B movie, crazy, you know, just situation. And
Mhm.
I'm a huge fan. Like I said, Arizona has a great group of cartoonists, you know. I wouldn't say that any of them are better than the others. I think they're all doing their own thing, and I think that's to be commended.
Mhm.
And we have great comic book stores, we have great conventions, you know. So like it is a pretty open playing field. Of course, maybe I'm at a different level because I've been doing it so long, but I do feel like we do try to support each other's stuff. Maybe some of them don't support as much or whatever, but I always try to be a guy that leads by example. So I'm always trying to give people their shout outs, say, hey, I really dug this about your new
Mhm.
book or whatever. Try to support the books. We need that. You know, you want to encourage it.
Yeah, especially since you said like the scene is so fresh and like it's just full of raw talent at the moment. Like you kind of want to nurture that, you know what I mean? Because I mean like you don't want like some of them to like leave and go become video game artists and be
Yeah.
jaded
Right.
or something like that, you know what I
Right.
mean?
And,
But
and that happens too. And everyone's got to figure out their motivations. You know, for me, Ocho is just kind of a hobby that it does make money and it does pay for itself, and it gives me wonderful entree. It gives me wonderful opportunity to meet like some of my heroes. You know, I've talked to all kinds of guys over all kinds of eras, and again, Ocho's just the love letter back to comics. So I can kind of point to those guys and say, hey, you know, you got me into this, and then this is where I took off with it from, you know. And I don't really believe in, you know, if I listed the names of people that supported the Ocho Kickstarter so far, as far as artists, I think people would be blown away. But I can't because I just don't feel that I don't feel that I'm not that guy. And you know, maybe I used to be that guy. I would try to come up with little pull quotes if someone said, "Hey, I really dug this" or whatever, and I'd put it on the next issue or something. I don't do that stuff anymore because it's up to me to be me and draw Ocho. And you know, you get to the next level. You try to do your own thing and try to be worth your weight in comics creation.
that's rad.
Yeah,
Mm. Yeah, I'd like to just touch back on what you were saying before about like how you make your mini comics and you just send them in a normal mailer and stuff like
yeah,
that. And I think we've kind of lost sight a little bit in comics where a lot of the industry is too focused on the collectability instead of the
yeah,
reading experience. And I
yeah,
find, uh, and I'm with you. Like I've told people, I said, if it makes it cheaper to ship it, just throw it in an envelope. If it's dinged when I get it, I can still read it. I'm a
yeah. You
read
want to read it?
I'm a reader first, and the collectability aspect is just okay. If it becomes something special, then fine, great, a bonus. But for me, the number one thing I want is to read the book,
Yeah.
Right.
and I don't want to have to run around because I don't know. It's a first appearance of a character, and all these people are going and snatching them all off the shelves, and then
Yeah,
you can't get an issue because I don't know. It's I think it's kind of ruined. Like comics used to be, like a disposable medium, right? And now
yep,
it's too focused on okay, like let's get it slabbed, and I don't know. I think we've lost kind of what the spirit of what comics were,
yeah.
and
I
and I
agree.
think and I think like indie comics now are starting to bring it back, like more so than ever now. Like with the shift, with how much everything costs now, I think more and more people are starting to shift back. Because printing costs have gone up, shipping has gone up, packaging for shipping has skyrocketed. Like a Gemini, getting a comic in a Gemini mailer costs more probably for the Gemini mailer than it does for the goddamn comic that it's put in. You know, like it's all upside down for a good chunk of it. So I'm 100% on board with you like that. Like, just send it to me in a mailer. If the spine has a dent in it or whatever, who cares? You know, like I can still read it. You know, so
I haven't been watching the chat. So, hey, Spanky. Hey, what's up, Pops? Yeah, we did work in Arizona for a little bit. I forget where we were, though.
Yeah. Scott was in the house, too.
What's up? Oh.
Yeah, he lost his connection. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
My ranting made him lose his internet connection. But while he's gone, we could do some housekeeping. So we were talking to Eric, the creator of Ocho. He has a Kickstarter running right now, Kickstarter for the collected edition. You could go back that now. He's got about 2 weeks left?
Yeah, I think 12 days total.
12 days, so about 2 weeks. He's a little over halfway there. So if you want to help an indie creator out that's been working on a book, like this is a passion project of his. He's been working on it since the mid 90s. So I mean, go throw a few schneckles at Ocho Kickstarter and help an indie creator out, get his book done. And it's a pretty fat boy. What is it? It's like 230 pages about.
Pages. Yeah, 228 I think in total.
Yeah. So it's a nice little trade.
10 issues, and it's a lot of fun. Like he said, it's issue 29 through 39, but like for the most part, it's probably it's like a very approachable story arc. You know what I mean? Like in this one, it's all kind of about like Ocho. He meets a girlfriend, and we kind of it's a neat window into the book, and I think it's a great starting point. Of course, like it's my starting point. So, but like I was able to acclimate to the book very well.
Yeah.
I think he's still having trouble.
Probably switched. Maybe his battery died on his laptop, and now he's switching to his phone. That's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, it looked like he was like trying to find a good camera angle.
Technical issues. It's one of the realities of doing these things.
Yeah, it's part of the fun.
Yeah. Maybe he has a storm going through his way too.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like we just had a bunch of rain. Like we had a flash flood warning like all yesterday.
Yeah, us too. Yesterday we had a lot of. Was it yesterday or the day before? Maybe Saturday we had a lot of rain. But it's been dry as hell here. We really needed it.
Oh yeah, no. Well, it's so humid today, man. I'm like sweating my nose out.
So we're almost close to wrapping things up. We'll try to see if Eric can get back on. But there we go. Oh, there is a storm. Scott's saying there is a storm. He's in Phoenix, and he's saying there is a storm kicking up. So there's a good chance we might not be able to get Eric back because the storm seems like it's affecting his internet. But man, it happened.
It's happened to me several times. I've lost shows.
But I mean, this is the best case scenario of a bad situation, right? Usually we go for an hour with creators, and we got a good hour in with Eric. So I mean, we pretty much touched on most of what we needed to. We won't be able to let Eric plug anything, I guess, like if he wants to go do conventions, stuff like that. But he did mention he was going to Crossroads with Scott coming up soon. So you go find them there. Do you remember where he said that was? Where's Crossroads?
Columbus, Ohio, I think he said, right?
Okay, he's going there with Scott. So Scott's in the chats. Maybe he could maybe he could plug it in the chats. But man. I mean, that's the episode. Ocho, man. Like I said, if you like a comic that is very how did I put it, Johnny?
Wholesome, man.
Wholesome, wholesome. This is definitely a wholesome comic.
But not hokey, you know what I mean? Like, and it's not preachy. Like, it's got some great messaging, but like, it doesn't bash you over the head with it at the same time. So like, it's kind of the perfect thing. Like, it's a Madman, but with a little bit more heart. And it's in Columbus, Ohio on the 20th and the 21st. Go meet Scott. Go get Future Lux. Issue 4 looks like it's on its way. We've seen some stuff from it yesterday that Scott posted. Damn, can't wait. I love me some Future Lux. And and go pick up what he's got of that in Columbus, Ohio, along with some Ochos, because
And what's the other one? He's running out now. He's got 60 copies left of Mice.
Blind Mice.
Blind Mice. I love that cover.
I
cover of Blind Mice. It's awesome.
Yeah, I backed it. I changed my pledge earlier today, and
did you?
Yeah, he's going to be putting up a couple issues of Ocho that I want to. He said he's got copies of 22, which is on screen now. That's that Beta Ray Bill homage, and I want to get issue 31 where he's holding up the three fingers and the one finger.
Oh yeah. I think you have a shot of that.
Yeah,
he does that in one of the. You have it there.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing another smaller local show at the Foundry Hotel October 11th. Okay, so another show. So you could go meet the guys on October 11th as well, Scott and Eric. Yeah, there you go, Johnny.
Yeah, I love that cover, man.
That'd make a kick-ass t-shirt, man.
Yeah, Ocho's just such a great character, man. He reminds me of this guy I knew, this big Norteño I got hung out with named Manuel.
Had Spanky in the chats too. What's up, Spanky?
Yeah, you got to do that last
Yeah, we got to get that set up. I've been so fucking busy though. It's crazy. It's hard to fit everything in. Yeah.
But I think that's it for this episode. I don't think we're gonna be.
So just remind people one last time. We have the link for the Kickstarter in the chats and in the description. So go back, Ocho. Go check it out.
And we'll be back on Wednesday. We're going to be talking.
Oh yeah,
Charles Glaubitz.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about New Sphere. That's also going to be on Kickstarter. Starting
our first official Power Hour. Where we talk about some of the creators from Power Pulp. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be issue 2. The Kickstarter is going to start in the morning, and we're going to have them on in the evening. But it's
part. And we're going to do a giveaway of New Sphere #1 as well. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, how we're going to give it away, how it's going to work, but we're going to be giving away the first issue of New Sphere as well. So
before we go on there, we'll talk to Charles about it, see if he's got an idea for a collection or something we could do for.
But someone will be able to win issue 1 some way or somehow. So someone's going to get an issue for free.
Woo, woo. Which, I mean, it's beautiful. Charles's artwork is just so gorgeous. So, we'll see you guys Wednesday, I guess. Take it easy, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Get to the outro.
Outro.